reaching our city's online gala for ROC Renewal. I'm really so glad and so thankful that you would take time out of your busy schedules to join with us online. I know we've all had a lot of online over the last 7 months or so, haven't we? But this is the best way that we can gather and the best way we can be safe and the best way right now that we can celebrate what God is doing at reaching our city. You know, we are a faith-based, compassionate community development agency. And I am excited to tell you about what's going on here. Now, many of you have already been down here this week. Almost 150 people came through the building to see our big mural on the front of the building, to see the renewed projects inside, the new floor in the entryway, the Camino Clinic coming in, and just generally seeing where we do ministry and how we do it. But that's the building. The renewal that you've seen, and you maybe have seen it online, the physical renewal of the space is really only an outward sign of the inward grace that is happening in people's lives. Tonight online, we're going to be sharing with you through some interviews from our friend Maggie Carlo about the inward transformation, the inward renewal that's happening in the people who come here for hope and healing and for the hospitality, and the people who work here and volunteer here, and how it all comes together to bring renewal in people's lives. And you get to be a part of that. Thank you again for being here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jason Rowinski. I'm the Executive Director of Reaching Our City, and it is really my privilege to be hosting this online gala for you. Now, we are doing this for the first time, and we're doing this on a budget. So this is my Zoom account, and then we're going to flip over to the recorded interviews, and then we'll come back to this. You'll see a number of interviews. You'll see music live, well, was live when it was recorded, and a dance. And all of this is for our inspiration about the transformation that is happening. So bear with me through maybe some of the little technical difficulties and pauses in between some things. I promise I'll do my best to minimize them. But really, we're here to celebrate tonight. And we're here to tell the story. And we're here to fund the mission. This is our annual fall fundraiser. And I'm excited to be able to share with you the reasons why we really need your continued support at Reaching Our City. So, we're going to watch some videos now. Up first, you'll see the daughter of one of our board members, Olivia Kay, who's a 17-year-old, but she's been singing since she's 10. And she's been on The Voice, and she's been interviewed by Barbara Walters, but she is really well known here in Oklahoma, where she calls home. And so she is helping us by inspiring us and kicking off this whole event. So I want you to listen to Olivia and then Maggie in the interviews, and then Melissa Dockum will be performing a dance for us, and then you'll hear from me again live as we come back through the videos. Thanks again for being here. I'm really excited to share ROC Renewal, the inward transformation that's happening here at Reaching Our City.
Hi, I'm Olivia Kay, and I wanted to thank you so much for supporting Reaching Our City. They provide so many services for our OKC community, and I appreciate it so, so much. So I'm going to sing for you guys today, Rise Up by Andrew Day, and I hope you guys enjoy. You're broken down and tired. Find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we can walk it out and move mountains. We can walk it out and move mountains. know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains, and I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the pain. I'll rise up and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you. All we need is hope. And for that we have each other. And for that we have each other. And we'll rise, yes, we'll rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I will rise 1,000 times again.
Well, if you've driven by Northwest 10th, reaching our city, then you've seen this. And if you haven't driven by, then you need to make plans to drive by, because this beautiful mural behind Ebony is something to see. And every time I look at it, Ebony, I keep seeing something different and something that I didn't spot when I looked before. You are the artist behind this beautiful mural. Talk about how this all even came to be.
I was contacted by Jason and Arodi about 2-3 months ago. We worked together, just kind of chatted a little bit, and it just felt like I had already kind of known them for a while, and we got along. And then they selected me to continue the process, and we started out with a few sketches, and and here we are, and now it's on the wall. So it's definitely been a wonderful experience working with them.
It's beautiful, and it's called A Seat at the Table, this idea of hope and acceptance and joy, which is really the foundation of ROC and the work that they're doing at Reaching Our City. What spoke to you? Because in order to create this, you've got to feel that mission as well. There was something about it that spoke to you as well.
Oh, definitely. Just being here and seeing more about the work that they do. I looked at their videos online, and I saw just how they're working so much with so many just different people here in Oklahoma City. And when we spoke, they talked about the importance of sharing a diversity of individuals in the piece. They also wanted to share an image of Jesus welcoming everyone in different ways. And so in the painting, you see families, family units, you see some single individuals of all ages, ethnicities, and they're all being welcomed in the same way.
How long did it take you to do the mural?
It took about 3 weeks. Yeah, I think just under 3 weeks from start to finish. So I did have a friend that was helping knock some of that out named Jack Fowler. He's a local artist. And so that helped it go faster, which was great.
What happens when you're there and you're on the scaffolding and you're painting or drawing? People walk by. What was that like?
It was wonderful. The neighborhood, people, I feel like I know this neighborhood in a way I never would have before. People, some that come into ROC every now and then, that, benefit from some of their services. I've seen just walking around on normal days, doing other things, and, stopping and making conversation and rooting me on. Some people honking the horns. It's been really interesting. Like, I made a few friends along the way. There was one person who drove by and brought me a Gatorade one day, and he just said, I saw you one day out here and I'm just so proud of you. And he was just like rooting me on. And
yeah, you've inspired a lot of people, and I think there were people that were just like, wow, you're doing this for your life's work, and that you're sharing this gift that you have with everyone else, and now in such a grand way. Your personal experiences and your background, have you always been an artist? Did it somehow awaken in you? And then how does that influence when you decide? Because like you said, you brought to life this vision, but it's very much your art and your style of art, and it's beautiful.
I'm just a kid that never really stopped, you know? I mean, every kid starts out making art, and then, you know, people kind of break off and do other things sometimes, but I just never quit. And I remember starting to take it seriously when I was about 11 years old. So I would just like go into a room, close the door, and not let anybody come in until I was finished, just because I wasn't quite sure of my skills yet. So I wanted to not have them discourage me while I was in progress. But at this point, I kind of share the process with people, like on Instagram, Facebook, just kind of share the process of creating. So I guess I've evolved a little bit since then.
Do you realize that you are inspiring people? Do you ever hear those stories? Because you are inspiring people. I think especially because you are able to make it your work, that it really lets people know that side of them that they may not have explored, or that they don't know that they can sustain themselves, that you're doing it.
I gained confidence over the years, so that's something I definitely want to do for other people. So I teach now at Oklahoma City University, and I've taught at other places, and so I love talking to students, you know, not just about art, but just about like what their goals are. And
what's your favorite part of the mural, and what do you hope it inspires as people do walk and drive by?
Yeah, I think just the fact that they're all there, they're all equal, and they're all being welcomed equally. And I think in today's climate, we don't really feel that all the time or so much. And so I think what my hope is that everyone sees themselves in this piece and sees themselves being welcomed into ROC.
Yeah. Beautifully said. And if you haven't gotten by Northwest 10th, you've got to go by and see it. I imagine it'll be Instagrammable, and people will be taking pictures by it, and then also coming into ROC and taking part. Ebony, thank you so much for your time today and for sharing your beautiful talents with Oklahoma City. Well, Arodi, let's just get right into it and talk about the Career Navigator program, how it benefits the community, your role in the program too.
Absolutely. So I'm a career navigator. We are in a partnership with Oklahoma Works, Central Oklahoma Workforce Innovation Board. And it is a great program because what it does is that establishes partnerships with businesses and works with the community, providing solutions for those who need training and for those who need employees and who wants to participate in the development of employees and the development of their community. So it is a program that not only benefits those who are the job seekers, but it also benefits the employers.
It's awesome and so impactful for everyone involved. Sharon, as a work mentor to Eola, how has the experience just for you been as a mentor? Having been a mentor in my life, I realize that we think we're helping the other person, and yet there's so much that we're gaining from the experience as well. So what has that experience been like for you? And then how has it been? And hi, Eola, we're going to talk to you in just a second. You're sitting right there. But Sharon, how's that been for you? And then also to see Eola grow?
It was amazing. When Pastor Rodi first talked to me about the program, I really didn't know, I agreed to it, but without really understanding what I was getting into. And when I first met Eola, I think she maybe said 5 words to me. And it was a joy to get to work with her, to watch her grow, not just personality-wise, but, for an example, she just started to take initiative. I didn't have to ask her to do something or make a list. She just saw what needed to be done, and she'd go do it on her own.
Yeah, you can tell that she's had a great impact on you too. And, it's really feels so good to see that in your eyes and your smile. And Eola, what has it been like for you? And just explain a little bit for those that don't know your backstory and how you even came to ROC and came to the program.
Well, I've been going to this church for like 6 to 5 years, and I didn't know none of them, but Pastor Jason, he's a great pastor, and Miss Sharon, she was a great mentor, and I thought she would never get the side out of me that nobody could, but she did. I wasn't expecting it, but you know, it is what it is. But
what was it about her? What was it about her way? Was it that she was just listening? Sometimes when someone doesn't even do very much talking but listens, we can't help but open up.
Well, yeah, I think it was the listening part, because my mom or my dad, they don't listen to nothing I gotta say. And she did, even if I was just talking just to be talking, she was listening and was understanding where I was coming from.
What's the future hold for you? What are you looking forward to? What COVID-19 is over, and what does your future hold?
I want to be a nurse or a doctor, one of those.
Just again, seeing this beautiful relationship right here, that's enough to realize that we need to continue to support ROC and support the programs they're doing. It's really impactful.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that we have found out is that you can have structures, but if you don't have community, people will not succeed. And what ROC provides with programs like this is a sense of community and connection, where we truly care, where we follow up. And not only with those who are job seekers, but with our employers that perhaps are going through a rough time through the pandemic, and these programs provide the personnel, the incentive that they need to continue to push forward.
Without community, you can have structure, but if there's no community, it doesn't work. Sharon, you're nodding your head. I take it that is something you found at ROC.
Yes. Sorry. I was just thinking back the first time my husband and I came to church here, and we'd been moved back to Oklahoma City, and we were looking for a home. And I knew right away I was home. I mean, you can feel it here. And I don't know how else to describe it, except you can feel it. You can feel a sense of community. You can feel that people genuinely care about who you are and what's going on in your life. And if I can give just a fraction of that back to someone, then I feel like I've succeeded.
Yeah, and I've been at ROC too, and I have to agree with you. There's a feeling that is there, and it's so powerful. And especially during this time, like you said, when we're all feeling disconnected, to have a place where you can come in and feel that connection is really something special. And Iola, down the road, do you ever think that you might mentor somebody, knowing that? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I could. I don't know if I actually could, but I'm pretty sure I could.
Yeah, of course you could. Of course you could. Well, Braden, you have had several different roles, and most recently been in just this vital role of helping with the food pantry. Just talk about that job, and especially during the pandemic, how what you all do there internally had to change, and then the needs were changing in the community around you.
Yeah, so I actually took over as the food pantry manager, I think the week before the pandemic really started affecting the way people in Oklahoma were living their lives. And I remember going into a meeting, I think it was on a Friday, where we were like, we have to change things today to be able to give out food. Because we felt like, obviously, we need to continue serving because food insecurity in our neighborhood is real. And especially with the pandemic, that became a reality that people face that may not have faced it before, at least to the extent that they're facing it now. But really quickly, we realized that we needed a whole lot of new volunteers. And Kathy is one of those volunteers who's done a really great job and was really consistent throughout the pandemic up until when she had to go back to school as a teacher.
And Kathy, hello to you and all the work that you do. Normally, you're a teacher in your professional life. You volunteer and you use your gifts in the food pantry. Just talk about what happened during this pandemic, especially with children. Suddenly, there were children who really relied on going to school to have many or both meals that they would have for a day, suddenly aren't able to go to school. Schools tried to quickly, get into action and figure out mobile feeding, but you all were able to step in, and you saw it really from two sides.
I realized there was a lot of uncertainty about the children in this area. I was a teacher in this district for 28 years, and I've been a member of this church for 20 years. So I know this community, I know these kids and the families, and they have my heart. And so I started thinking, what can we do? What are we going to be able to do? And Braden was able to get things rolling with feeding the kids, and I was happy to help out with that and just be there in any capacity that I could be.
And you see that, and Braden, you as well. We've talked so much about this in this time of life, of this idea of food insecurity, and especially when we think about children who are growing and need nutritious food every day to grow their little bodies. It's still hard to wrap our minds around that there are people in our community that do go to bed hungry, especially children. But can you just speak to that? Because you see it firsthand.
The thing is, a lot of kids are not going to tell you that they're hungry. You just have to kind of watch for signs. And when you're at school, that's a little easier. If they're asking the person next to them if they're going to finish their food on their tray or something like that, or they ask you for a snack before they go home or something like that. But if you're not in school, it's not as obvious. Mm-hmm. So we just know that it's always been an issue with food insecurity. No matter where you're located, there's always going to be those families. I just can't imagine the kids being hungry. And to me, it didn't matter if we fed 5 kids or we fed 50 kids in a day. If we fed 5 kids, that was 5 kids that didn't go to bed hungry.
Hungry, yeah.
So.
Yeah, Braden and Kathy makes that point, this idea that where would people have been without ROC and without you all stepping into action, and that ROC just filled this huge void and continues to fill this void of getting people the food that they need, in addition to everything else that you're doing, this, very basic need that is vital. And you all have been a part of that.
Yeah, I think when we first started with the summer feeding program through the food bank, that's who we partnered with. There was some confusion and some uncertainty as to how kids in the Western High School District would be fed. And just about a week or two after we reached out to them, we were serving kids every day from 12 to 1. And like Kathy said, some days we had a lot of kids. Some days we didn't have that many. But every day we knew that we were feeding somebody. There was never a day that went by that nobody showed up. And even if it did, that wouldn't mean that we would stop the next day, because we know that need is still there. And maybe somebody will be driving by and see us that hadn't seen us before and then would stop by. And so we never really knew who was going to be coming, but we knew that we needed to be out there.
Yeah. And Kathy, I just wanted to circle back to something that you said a moment ago about the community having your heart. And what is it about the community having your heart? And then here you are able to be at ROC and serve that community.
They're very special, and I think they might be overlooked a lot. People don't really get it, how really great these families are and the kids are. And I don't want anyone to ever count them out. I don't want anything to take that chance away from them.
Yeah. And this transition, Braden, into and maybe expanded the homework cafe. Talk about that and that piece of the service that ROC does.
We reached out to some teachers and to some administrators in the district and said, look, if you have any kids that you think could really benefit from this the most, we have a capacity of how many we can bring in, but we want you to refer them to us. And so pretty quickly, within like 2 days, we had our capacity filled, and they come in each day, and we set them up, get them ready to go, and make sure that they're doing their work, and make sure that they're eating as well. We feed them as part of the homework cafe. And really, I think above everything else, what's been impactful for a lot of them is just the socialization that they get to have with other kids in person, that was missing before to an extent that way.
Yeah, we all have time. If Kathy, who's a busy teacher, has time to do and make the time, you know, we all have some time in our days, in our weeks, you know, to make it possible and support ROC. And if somebody, you know, can't do it that way, do it financially. But really, the benefit of being at ROC, it's mutual. So if you think you're there volunteering, you're going to walk away with something in your heart and mind as well. So thank you for all that you're doing and all the lives that you're changing and stomachs that you're filling up every day. It makes you feel, you know, like Kathy's saying, like gives, you know, fills your heart up to know somebody's not going to go to bed hungry and that they've had some love and connection that you all are providing.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall and no one would hear? Well, let that lonely feeling wash away. Maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. 'Cause when you don't feel strong enough to stand, if you can reach out your hand. And oh, someone will come running, and I know they'll take you home. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, and when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. Lift your head and look around. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found.
Well, Jason, I've had the pleasure of being at ROC and had such a great experience when I was there and all the times that we've talked previously. Let's talk about what ROC is doing now and the theme that you all have right now with everything going on, ROC Renewal. What is that and why did you choose that theme?
You know, when COVID forced change on all of us, we couldn't do everything like we would normally do in our everyday business. We couldn't bring the same people in here. And we were really forced to re-examine, like, what are we doing? Who are we really? And sometimes I found that the way forward is really through the past. So it's not just ROC New, it's ROC Renew. And we wanted to say, like, what is the essence of this place that we could keep on doing in the temporary, but would really take us and change, transform what has been and bring us into the future. And so renewal just sounded like the right word. It was just one of those things that said, yeah, we know pretty much who we are, but now it's time to renew and represent and reposition ourselves into the community in a way that that says that it's a new era as well.
And if people are driving by, the first thing they're going to notice that they've been by before and now are just coming by weeks later or a month or two later than they normally do is this beautiful mural on the outside. Suddenly, you can't help but look over.
You can't, and that's really what we want, because one of the things that we saw that was part of our essence was just presence. You know, no matter what program we have or what people come and go who lead those programs, people who move in and out of the neighborhood, this 30,000 square foot building was presence in the community. So when people drive by now, they have an immediate sense of who we are and why it's important for us to be present in this neighborhood.
Yeah, it's so beautiful and welcoming, and just says everything that's already been going on, but just lets everyone know, hey, this is really going on.
Absolutely.
As far as the pledge drive goes and the ways that people can support, whether it be a sponsor or a volunteer, how can we do that?
It's really easy to give anytime to ROC. The pledge drive has a special link. It's on our website. It's www.reachingourcity.org. That tells all about what we're doing. It's a new website. It's part of our renewal. We updated that as well. Say, hey, here's a place where you can give, you can serve, that you can believe in. The work here is local. The work here is personal, and you can count on the fact that your dollar is going to go a long way when you give here in this neighborhood. We're not a big bureaucracy. We find the least expensive ways to get the most done. And that's really important to us, to be good, faithful stewards of that money. And on the website, too, you could find ways that you can volunteer. And one of the things we're doing as we're renewing the building, it's kind of a progressive renewal. We have work teams that can come in on a day or over a week in the summer. Sometimes it's church groups or groups from companies. And we have specific projects with specific costs. And you kind of like you would do for Habitat Humanity, you'd have like your project cost and your team, and you'd come in and you'd say, hey, we're going to build the art room, or we're going to frame out the fitness room. And there's all sorts, from cleaning and painting to indoor construction work that you can do at ROC. And then there's the program ways of volunteering. If you feel passionate about feeding people and you want to help out in the pantry, lots of ways to do that. If you feel passionate about really developing relationships with people, the program that you came to be a part of, The Vine, is one of those things you can do. You come and you eat and you spend time with people and you share your stories and you bring that community that's so important to renewal into people's lives. And so there's ways for families to volunteer, individuals to volunteer, your youth group, or we have some kids groups that have even come, all the way to those work service hours or your fraternity or sorority hours. There's just an opportunity for everyone. But the website's really the central locator for that. And then you can always call us at 405-440-9994. And that helps you just get introduced to the ROC.
Yeah, and just have to say, having been there and talked with you many times, it just feels good. It's a good place to come and to be. And I think that's one of those things when people are thinking about volunteering, they want to know when they go, like you're saying, that they're going to be able to do something that speaks to them and things that they enjoy doing, but that it's also a lovely, place to be. And you really feel also, if you're giving monetarily, that it's money going into exactly the right places and being used so well. Like you said, you like to stretch that dollar and make sure that it's all being used so well. And that is reassuring in these times, because we all are trying to figure out ways to give back to the community.
Yes, absolutely. And it's important that you can be a part of this renewal in so many different ways, because it really does. It does take a village to make this kind of transformation happen. And we've done a lot of charity and that kind of compassionate giving things away and making sure people don't fall all the way to the abyss. But we're also doing those things that help people take steps in, like Eola, into those new life kind of things that's a whole new world that they are empowered to live on their own. And we're trying to develop the neighborhood. And even like you mentioned, the mural is a way of doing community development, because we're really saying we're neighbors to these people around here, these businesses, these apartments, these houses. And we want to be a part of creating a developed neighborhood that's beautiful and inviting. So it's meaningful work on a lot of levels. I love doing it. I love the people who volunteer here, who work here, and who still, after they've moved away, have still continued to give. And it takes everyone to make that happen. And that happens when real community develops, that it goes beyond kind of that stranger, I'm here to help, I'm the one being helped, and some of those things are barriers. It becomes, people by name. and you know their story, and you become embedded in it in some way, and that's the power and the magic that happens, as it were, where transformation just takes off from there in ways that that you didn't even expect. I didn't expect that Iola wanted to be a nurse or a doctor. That's news to me, that her sights have gone from, could I ever get a job, or will I continue to repeat some of the things that have led to cycles of poverty, or do I now have a vision beyond? Well, it's not just beyond. It's not even going to college. I mean, she's aiming high now, as you heard. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And I love that empathy too, that everybody, gains and then changes perspectives, changes those own experiences you bring back to your family and share, changes families, changes communities. And like, that's where we all need to be, you need to be headed. So awesome work.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you very much. We hope to be.
Thank you.
We'll appreciate your time, and look forward to sharing with you and everyone around what the good stories of renewal that we're seeing happen and that we know are going to happen in this next year. So thanks, Maggie.
Yeah. Beautiful thing. Mm-hmm.
Isn't that awesome? I mean, we can spend all this time, and we will spend all this time making this building that place of hospitality and healing and hope. But it's not about a paint, as beautiful as that mural is. It's not just about having stuff rearranged, or a more welcoming entryway. I mean, that is important because it communicates what we believe about people, that people are created in God's image and are full of worth and dignity. And while they come to us for different reasons, in different circumstances of their lives, we are now kind of the one-stop shop on this side of town, the west side, the northwest side, that is somewhat forgotten because it's not in the urban core, but we have all of the urban core issues here. And we have needed people like you for our entire 20 plus years now of existence. We can't do it without you. We are still struggling in the midst of the coronavirus because, as you know, everything giving wise is down at church. You probably in your own family budgets, and it's tough. We're doing everything we can to be essential right now while not standing still, but continuing to move forward, because the mission doesn't stop. The need is always there, and we feel empowered by God to do these things, to do justice, to love mercy, to walk humbly with the Lord. We know what Jesus would do in these situations. And he calls us to be faithful stewards of the gifts that he's given us. Some people can't come down here. Many of our volunteers haven't been able to come down for a while because they're immunocompromised. In the middle of the pandemic, it's not great to be down here or to be out until we get past some of that. But we've had new volunteers. God has supplied the need there. And sometimes we couldn't give what we gave last year, but we can give something. I was talking to a teenager not too long ago, and they're trying to figure out with their very limited income how they could give. And I said, sometimes giving is sacrificial. You do have to give up something that is somewhat of a luxury for you in order for other people to take that, and that's kind of blessed, like the loaves and the fishes. And they figured out that they could give up one Starbucks coffee a week, basically, and be a $25 a month donor. That $25 goes a long way. Our $8 a month Food Hero program, $8, will feed a person a week's worth of groceries because of our partnership with the Regional Food Bank and the way that we purchase food and distribute that on scale and everything. Every little bit makes a difference. Of course, we've had churches and organizations like Bethany First Church of the Nazarene, where I used to be a pastor, was one of the pastors there. And that church from the very beginning has donated its people, its time, and continues to this day to make a good, substantial gift monthly so that we can do that work here that God's called us to do. And we have other organizations like that. We need more. We need more people giving up their Starbucks coffee in order for people here to have this kind of hope and healing in their life. And we need organizations who say, maybe this is part of our faith promise or missions budget. Maybe this is part of what our company's charitable contribution is. But we know, and I will promise you, that we will make every dollar go as far as possible in order to reach those people. We lower overhead as much as possible. We do need to be able to be here on your behalf. We are kind of urban missionaries, as it were, doing this work that we're called to do. And that's kind of the ordained work. God calls certain people to do certain things. And the church and the community around, the community abroad, even if you're not in the church, supports things for some people to do so that the work does get done. You're making a difference in the neighborhood. I hope you come down here and see what's happening at ROC. Not only the building transformation, but those stories of transformation. And there are many, many people, and it's still happening. And I want you to be a part of that. We need you to be a part of that. We're looking forward to the day where we come around and celebrate a lot more of these stories on a more regular basis. Now that everybody's getting used to being online, we can do some things a little bit differently and maybe communicate differently and more immediately to you. So I'm excited about some of that. We are thankful for your faithfulness. We promise to be good stewards. I'm asking on behalf of the people that we minister to here in this community. So many diverse people, children and teenagers, adults, single people, homeless people, people who are struggling because of the economy, senior adults, you name it. I'm asking on their behalf, will you be a supporter of reaching our city? And what really helps, to be very honest, is if you just automate your monthly giving, because that way we know and we can plan better for how we're going to reach those people. And we know that we can plan for the future. There are ministries that we are wanting to do, and we're trying to fund them. But also, if you could be a supporter by volunteering, whether it's a work project with your Sunday school class or your company, or coming down and or calling up or getting on the website and filling out a form and saying, hey, I want to help serve people food. I want to help tutor people in the Homework Cafe. Whatever it may be, we have a lot of needs, and we want more and more people to come down and be present here in our community. It makes a major difference. Thank you again for all that you have done, for being here tonight, for your support, for your prayers, for your encouragement. We need it. It keeps us going. We're looking forward to the future, and we know you're going to be a part of it. God bless, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks for being with us.